Hey guys, welcome to J and G podcast. With Jay, me, and that's G over there.
Yo, what's up?
This is our first ever episode of the podcast. We've been talking about doing this for quite some time now, and we finally were able to get things together and actually sit down and record our first episode. How you feeling today?
Oh, I'm doing good. I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm doing good. Another long day at work, but here we are, Friday.
Here we are.
Gonna go in Sunday, so that's no fun at all. But
Damn.
It is what it is.
It is what it is.
So I figured, what better way to start off our first episode than to talk about the NBA MVP race? So I'll start by asking you, in your personal opinion, who do you think is your MVP right now?
My MVP, I gotta go with Joel Embiid.
Mm-hmm. And what's your reasoning for that?
I mean, he's getting about 30 points per game, about 11 and a half rebounds, 4.5 assists, a block and a half a game, on about 50% from the floor, and he's shooting an amazing 35% from three and over 80% from the free throw line. This has got to be based about his best stats. And voting fatigue is going to come into it because we already voted Giannis, twice now?
Yeah, twice in a row.
Back-to-back years. Jokic was last year. Now Jokic is getting about 14 boards a game, shooting too. But I just think Embiid leading the 76ers team is, I don't know, I just have him over Jokic.
I think right now, with my MVP race, and it could be definitely the same way for you, I feel like every night I watch one of them play, and that's my MVP. I'll watch Joel and the 76ers play. I'm like, yeah, that's my MVP. Next night, I watch Jokic play. I'm like, dang, I might be the MVP too. It's just, it's so close right now. These guys are so good. I mean, yeah, you kind of hit the nail there. I mean, Joel Embiid, as of right now, is actually leading the NBA in scoring. Like I said, with 29.7, almost 30 points a game as a center, which, is
I don't think that's been done since Shaq, for being honest.
You're probably right. I mean, Jokic isn't far behind him at 26.1, but you know how Jokic is. He's over 8 assists, which I think actually he is top 10 in assist averages this season, which, again, is insane for a center to be doing it all.
Oh, yeah. But then here comes the difficult part. Do we label Giannis a center or a hybrid forward? Because if we label him a center, he's basically doing about the same thing as Embiid. I mean, the stats are similar. He's just shooting better from the field and a little bit worse from three.
I personally would have Giannis as a 4. I know he's been running 5 with Brook Lopez being out this season, but in their natural top of the line starting lineup, he's going to be running the 4. So I still do classify him as a 4. I mean, Giannis is one of them players that
you could put him anywhere.
Yeah, I mean, he's just so dominant that as long as he's on the court, it doesn't matter who he's matching up against. He's going to kill it.
Yeah. I mean, my top 3. 1 is Embiid, 2 is Jokic, because, I mean, Jokic is still having an unbelievable season. Over, 26 points per game, 14 rebounds, over 8 assists, and he's still getting a block. I don't know for his defense, but still, that's a little impressive.
It is. And, like I said, it's one of them things where it's like, I think it's going to come down to whoever has the biggest game at the end of the season, if that makes sense. Like the last stretch of the season, whoever has that big game on national television is probably going to get the voters. Kind of like last night. In my head, I'm like, well, whichever one of these two players has a better game, like they were both on national television, both big games. I'm like, whoever has a better night is probably going to jump ahead in the MVP race. And well, neither one of them really stood out. They were both kind of they weren't I don't want to say they were bad. I think for their MVP standards, it was not very good. But it's just neither one of them popped off the stat sheets or like even watching them. They just didn't have very good games. So I really don't think last night helped at all.
Yeah, I mean, Embiid, they did lose 129 to 100 in the Nets, but Embiid still put up 27 points, 12 rebounds, a block, 2 for 3 from 3.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it was still a good game, but I just don't think it's at that level to where you can be like, damn, that's the guy. But
yeah,
he has had him in the past.
Yeah, and I think especially with that game, the stats look decent, but I think just like actually watching the game, he just, I don't know, he like I know there's a thing called the eye test, and I don't know if he really passed it. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
he didn't look good playing last night. It's kind of a weird thing, but I'm sure people get that. Um, I don't know. Like I said, I think technically ESPN or whoever has Jokic still in first place for the MVP, which again, you know, I'm fine with that. Him or Embiid to win it, I think is going to be. I don't think anybody's really going to be too upset either way.
Yeah.
Um,
Now,
go ahead.
now my dark horse for this, that I think he's outside the top three in my opinion. But depending on how these last this last stretch of games go, he could make his way up into the top three, and that's Ja Morant.
Definitely. Ja Morant just had a complete breakout season this year. I mean, he was good last year, you know, but
Yeah.
he took his game from a borderline all-star last year to a MVP candidate this year. Like I said, he might not win it, but the fact that he's at least in conversations is just huge for him. You know, like I remember you had mentioned before the show that he definitely has a huge chance of winning Most Improved Player, which I think he wholeheartedly deserves.
Oh yeah.
He has got that Memphis team so fun to watch, which is crazy because I remember growing up, it was always the Mike Conley, Zach Randolph, Marcus Gasol teams that were just the grit and grind. You know, Tony Allen, they were really good at defense, and they were just kind of boring to watch.
It was kind of boring, and it was kind of just like they were an underrated team.
Mm-hmm.
Because I mean, I think at one point the OKC Thunder, when they had Harden, Westbrook, and KD, they took them to 7 games. I think the Western Conference Finals, or at some point in the playoffs, they took them a long bit, and I think that Memphis team could have won, but it was just the NBA was just so. The other teams were just so good, like OKC. You had the Lakers. I think during that point you had the Heat.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? It was just so many teams that were good at that point to when they just got overshadowed.
Yeah, and I mean, like I said, and Ja Morant is just he's so fun to watch. I mean, you know, and I have a stat pulled up here. I saw it on Twitter earlier today. Ja Morant in his last 20 games has averaged 32.7 points, 6.66 assists, 6 rebounds on 50% field goal, and his 8 games of 35 plus points. And he also has the franchise best 52-point game, which is the best individual stretch in Grizzlies franchise history.
Yeah, I mean, I got his overall stats here, and my stats are backed up by Basketball Reference. If you want to check those out, just Basketball Reference on Google. Not sponsored, but hey, you want to sponsor us? Let us know.
Yes, I very gladly appreciate that.
But I got Ja Morant here, 27.5 points, about I think 5.8 rebounds, 6.7 assists, on over a steal a game, on 50% from the floor, 35 from 3, and 76 from the free throw. I mean, considering last year, I think he had maybe like, I don't know, I think it was like 19 points or something like that. It's just been a step up, I think, overall in his play and his stats. And I think he's been doing really well and motivating his team to get better. So.
For sure. It's just, like I said, it's good for the NBA to have a smaller market team like Memphis being, I think they're like the 2-3 seed now. I mean, they are a very good team.
Yeah, I think it's still Nuggets, Warriors, and the Grizzlies.
Yeah, I don't know with the Warriors winning last night, they might have jumped back up to 2. But you know, it's great though, because if you look at, you know, last season, Milwaukee won the championship, which is a smaller market team. And then now this year you have a team like Memphis, another small market team, kind of breaking out and being fun, getting national televised games, which is, I think, fantastic for the NBA, because the NBA for the longest time has always been dominated by your bigger market teams. They're always going to get the national television games. You know, they're usually going to be the better teams, and the smaller market teams are just kind of, you know, left behind in the dust. I mean, like if you look at even this season alone, you know, the Lakers are not good this year, but they're still getting televised games all the time because they're Los Angeles. You know what I mean?
It's just like the Knicks.
Yep, same with the Knicks.
Well,
the Knicks had a breakout year last year, so everybody thought they were going to be. Yep, everybody thought they were going to be good again this year, so they get all these national televised games.
They're just They're just ass.
Yeah, pretty much. They just haven't been good, and you know, I think it's got to come to the point the NBA's got to realize, some of these small market teams can compete. Because I mean, like even like Phoenix, I don't know if I call Phoenix a small market, but they're definitely not a big market team. And last year in the finals, this year another fantastic season. I think it's great for the NBA to have all these smaller teams being good, because then it gives you more parity in the NBA. It gets players to want to go to different places.
Yeah, and it's not just going to the Lakers, to the Heat, to all these teams that
Brooklyn.
like these giant, like, oh, I want to play there. Then you got Memphis, who's just trying to get some of the good players and so they can compete. To get them pulled up. So yeah, I totally agree with you.
Yeah. And it's really tough because these small market teams they have to draft well. Because if you don't draft well, you're not getting anybody. Because I mean, like look at Portland. I mean, Portland drafted Damian Lillard, and I mean they've had a decent team for the past 10 years. I mean, they're always in a playoff hunt. They even had that conference finals push a couple years ago. But nobody looks at Portland and goes, "I want to play there," or at least I'm sorry. No big. We're back. We had a little bit of a technical difficulty there, but I think we got to figure it out there.
Yeah, we're good. We're back.
If anybody, has any Prime podcast apps or websites to use, please just let us know. We're just starting out. We're trying to get everything, situated. Yeah. But back to the point I was making. No big time free agents like your Kyrie, James Harden, Kevin Durant, LeBron, whoever's, are not going to look at Portland and want to go play. Even though they have Dame, they just haven't been. They just haven't been good enough. I mean, like they really haven't shown that they can win a championship. So nobody wants to go play there. So that's why I think drafting really well is huge for these small market teams.
Oh yeah, and if you look in the past, they haven't drafted that well. Besides, I think CJ McCollum and Damian Lillard. Obviously, that's it. And I think the only thing that really drove people to possibly even consider it was Damian Lillard, playing with Damian Lillard. But then when you get some of these bigger names, they're gonna want the ball in their hand, and you know how Damian Lillard is Dame Dollar. He's gonna want the ball.
Yep.
And with the way they were just building this team, it's just been terrible. I mean, they had the 1 year, like you said, when they had that conference finals push. But other than that, I mean, what's the team looking like now? You got Lillard, Nurkic, and a bunch of like role players. I don't even, you know what I mean? It's just
it's rough right now, and I think they're at the point now where they have to realize they're not going to be good anytime soon, and just I know Dame wants to be loyal, and more power to him for that. But if he wants to win, he has got to leave Portland, and that's not even a hot take. Everybody knows that. That team's just not good enough to win, and they've gotten even worse now. Especially him coming off an injury. Is he even going to want to play there? He says he wants to play there, but is he really going to go out there every night and give his best effort? Kind of like what was going on with that James Harden situation in both Houston and Brooklyn. Saying like, "Oh yeah, I want to be here," but then he just goes on the court and just does not try.
Or like Kyrie in Boston.
That Kyrie in Boston's another good one too.
Don't know why they ever traded for him. I liked Isaiah Thomas better.
Just so you guys know, he's a Boston fan. So
yeah,
still a little hurt over that one.
Yes, I am. I loved IT. In the fourth quarter.
But talking about wow, I kind of lost my train of thought there. Oh, okay. So we'll just go ahead and talk about last night's games. You had Ben Simmons and the Brooklyn Nets. Going back to Philly.
See, if Ben Simmons actually played, I'd be going with you on saying that. But I think it was Kevin Durant and the Nets.
Yes, obviously, but just for the storyline of it.
Storyline. Yes.
Well, let's just say there really wasn't much of a storyline other than the fact that James Harden thought he was in the playoffs and just decided to stop playing basketball. No.
I mean, you're not wrong about that.
But no,
Three.
no, I don't want to upset any Philly fans. I know you guys are diehard fans. But
I
no, just
mean,
to be completely honest, it nobody can dispute it was just a bad night for Philly.
yeah, I mean they got blown out by almost 30 points. James Harden went 3 for 17 from the field, only hit three threes. He did pass Reggie Miller for third all time on the 3-point
Yes,
record.
which
So there's
congratulations
something
to
like
James
that.
Harden. Yep, congratulations to James Harden for that one.
Congrats
I
to him.
saw Reggie Miller was wearing the James Harden jersey with it. So it's good to see, at least he's a good sport about it. But yeah, no, it was such a disappointing game. Just like most fans were looking forward to this game because we knew there was going to be a lot of tension, at least between Ben Simmons and the Sixers and Ben Simmons and the fans of Philly. I don't think really anybody else in that team of Brooklyn I don't think anybody on Brooklyn really has any ill will towards anybody on Philly, and I don't think anybody on Philly has any ill will towards anybody on Brooklyn besides Ben Simmons. So it was just like that whole Ben Simmons saga. Then now, Danny Green came out a couple days ago and said oh, I don't even think Ben Simmons is going to play, which he ended up not playing. But then Danny Green didn't end up playing. So I mean, I don't know what he was
I
talking
mean,
about.
then again, it is Danny Green. So
You're not really missing too much with that. But
I mean, going down to the box score of that game. I mean, the only bright spot they really had, 76ers had was Embiid. Embiid finished with 27 points, 12 boards. Tobias Harris actually showed up tonight a little bit. He had 16 points, 3 boards, and 3 assists on 4 for 5 from the 3-point line.
Yeah, Tobias, I don't know. I don't want to say I've never liked Tobias, but I just always thought he was a little bit. I feel like with Tobias, the idea of him has always been better than what he actually has ever been.
I can see that.
Yeah, I feel like sometimes people can overrate him a little bit. Now I know he also gets a lot of hate, so he can be definitely overhated at times as well. But I think he gets overrated in the sense he's not bad, but he's for Tobias Harris to be his best, he needs the ball and he needs to get into a rhythm. He's like a rhythm shooter, a rhythm scorer. And when you play with Embiid and James Harden and now Tyrese Maxey, who has broken out this season, you're just not going to get the ball in your spots a lot. You're going to have to get to the point where you can be a consistent spot up shooter because all three of those guys, Maxey, Harden, and even Embiid this season have been insane in finding the open man. So if Tobias can get to his spot and just be able to catch and shoot, I think you'll see his value increase. But he's like the type of guy where he'll be wide open in the corner, he'll catch it, and he's got to do a little moves to get himself in rhythm and then shoot. And it's just it's for what he is to that team now. It's really tough for him to be doing that. When it was just Harden, or I'm sorry, when it was just Embiid and him, like the beginning of this season, it was easier for him to do that because he was kind of looked at as one of the top 2 options on the scoring. But then Maxey started getting better throughout the season, and then obviously once James Harden got there, he commands the ball a lot. And ever since James Harden got there, Tyrese Maxey went on an absolute tear. So I don't know. I think it's gonna be tough for Tobias to find his role in this team.
Yeah, I mean, I get what you're saying, but I still think that he can become. I feel like he's kind of like that prototypical player that you wanted, like the 4, can guard a little bit bigger size people, but can also defend on the perimeter, like a guard type player. I mean, if he can just find his shot, like you were saying, I mean, because if you have Embiid and Harden going off and you double one of them, you're probably leaving or Maxey open, and you can't leave Maxey open, so you're going to leave Harris open. And I feel like if he can hit his shot, this team's gonna make the playoffs, and they're possibly gonna make a conference finals push, maybe even a NBA finals push.
Mm-hmm.
Now, for the Nets, I got Durant with 25 points, 14 rebounds, 7 assists. He went 10 for 17 from the field. Seth Curry popped off last night. He had
Seth Curry revenge game.
Yep. He had 24 points. He had 5 steals. He went 10 for 14 from the field. 4 for 8 from three, and then Kyrie he just came out to play. He had 22 points, 5 assists, 2 blocks, and he shot really good from the field. He went 5 for 11 on three and 8 for 17 from the field.
You know, I think it was Stephen A. Smith who the other night after Kyrie had his 50-point game came out and said that it was selfish or it was bad for Kyrie to have that kind of night because he's robbing the Nets fans or the Nets organization the chance of him doing that every night because he won't get the shot. And he's being, all how Stephen A. Smith can be,
Yeah.
they just talk. Um, Kyrie Irving, even though he's got a lot of stuff going on now in the past couple of years outside of basketball, on the basketball court, Kyrie Irving is still one of the best players in the NBA, and I stand by that. I mean, at least offensively. I mean, he is so offensively gifted. It is absolutely insane to watch him play. I think people really started forgetting how good he was because of all the off the court issues and like the lack of him playing. But like you're seeing now, when he gets on that court, he is just he's a demon. He's so good.
Oh yeah, especially with the way he can finish around the rim,
Mm-hmm.
contort his body and get the rotation on the ball to go off the backboard and into the bucket. It is just crazy.
Yeah, and I remember he made a comment. I think it was last year or like 2 years ago, whatever. Whenever him and Kevin Durant joined the Brooklyn Nets, that this is the first time in his career he could look at a teammate and say, he can make that shot, which was kind of a shot at LeBron. And as a LeBron fan, I wasn't a huge fan of that comment because I'm like, you won a championship, but like whatever. But like, I feel like Kyrie having such a threat of Kevin Durant beside him, it opens up the whole court for Kyrie Irving to just do whatever he wants to do. I mean, because like I said, as much as I love LeBron, KD is he's just a better scorer than LeBron is. He can score from anywhere in the court. He's super efficient, and he's one of those guys that you literally cannot leave open. Even if you have a guy on him, he's still going to make the shot. So it makes it so much easier for Kyrie Irving to just get the ball and get to the basket.
Oh yeah, completely understand what you're saying there. I think forget when it was, but I think it might have been Bucks Nets or whenever PJ Washington. No, it wasn't PJ. It was PJ Tucker. Was guarding hard. I mean, yeah, when PJ Tucker was guarding Kevin Durant, he told his teammates, "You guys guard your man. I got KD."
Mm-hmm.
And he knew that KD was going to go for like 30, 35. But
Mm-hmm.
if everyone else could just hold their man's down, it was good. You know what I mean?
And over the years, I've never been a huge. I don't want to say I'm a huge fan, but just like almost everybody else, I got really upset when Kevin Durant decided to join the Warriors. That like really upset me and turned me off of Kevin Durant. But
don't even get me started on that.
Exactly. But I was just starting high school at that point in time, and I've gotten to the point now in my life, even though it wasn't that long ago, where I've matured to the point where I'm like, you know what, he might have did something I didn't like, but that doesn't take away anything from how good of a player he is. I mean, he's a first ballot Hall of Famer. He just hit, was it 25,000 points in his career?
It was something insane like that. I'm not 100% sure what it was.
I think he hit 25,000 and Curry hit 20,000. So I mean, he's legitimately, arguably, one of the greatest scorers of all time.
Yes, I will agree on that.
And
the way he can shoot and the way he can finish, being what I know he's listed at like 6'9".
He's a 7-foot guard basically at this point in time.
Yeah, that's like I don't care what you say. There's a photo of him standing next to Boogie Cousins, and he's taller than Boogie Cousins. Like there's no way he is not 7 feet tall. And the shot on the ball that he has up over his head, I got to give credit to Rick Barnes for teaching him that in college when he went to Texas for 1 year. Mm-hmm. That's something that Rick Barnes does preach. But the way he elevates and gets the ball over his head about a foot or two, and that high release, high arcing shot, it's practically unguardable.
Yeah, he's basically shooting the ball, from the ground up is probably 8 feet. You're not gonna get up there and get that.
Shit, I mean, it might even be taller than that because he's jumping while his
True,
arms are
true,
up. So you might be
true.
looking at 9, maybe like 9 feet, 8.5, 9 feet from the ground up. Maybe close and even, maybe even pushing 10, depending on what kind of shot he's taking.
Yeah, like I said, I never stood next to Kevin Durant, so I can't, attest to that. But
Yeah. I would love to see Kevin Durant stand next to Ben Simmons because Ben Simmons is listed like 6'10", and if he's taller than Ben Simmons, he's a 7-footer.
oh yeah, and it's got to that point because I'm sure almost everybody, if not everybody that has watched basketball, grew up watching basketball, had players they really didn't like for one reason or another. But I think as you get older, you learn to just you might not like them, but you appreciate just how gifted of a player they are. Where you can kind of look past it.
Yeah,
You,
like back when the Celtics had the big three and then arguably the big four, and them having their battles against LeBron. Younger me, which is like, oh, I hate LeBron. I don't like LeBron. Da da da. But now as I'm maturing, I'm just like, you know what? I still don't like LeBron, but I have a respect for him. You know what I mean?
Which you got to. He's one of the greatest players of all time.
One of.
One of, yes. Now, whether he's your goat or not, anybody listen, doesn't matter. He's at least up there.
Yes.
So now I want to shift to something a little bit different here and talk about the NBA Rookie of the Year race because I think we are, a good way through the season where obviously the winners are not locked because we still have games left, but
yeah.
I think we're really seeing the full potential. Well, I shouldn't say the full potential, but we're seeing kind of what these rookies are going to be at least this year.
Yeah. Yeah, then again, you could have, I think, the OJ Mayo thing to where you have like 2 or 3 really good years, and then you fall off, or you could have a really good what?
I said it's definitely possible.
Oh yeah, or they could have like a really good year right now, elevate it next year, and then they just fall off the face of the earth for whatever reason.
Yeah, but let's hope not. Let's definitely hope not.
Oh yeah, let's hope not.
So right here, I have an article by Vincent Frank from Sportsnaut. So this is just the NBA rookie rankings for, I guess, this week or like I'm not really sure. But so this is a 10-man list. Okay, so if anybody's upset with this, don't come at me. This is Vincent Frank's list. Okay.
Yeah, leave my boy alone.
Number 10, Jalen Green.
Didn't Jalen Green play in the G League last year because he didn't go to college?
Yes. Now Jalen Green, obviously, he was the second pick, if I believe.
I know he was top 3.
I'm pretty sure he was second because I think I went Cade Green, Mobley. Yeah, I think. But
yeah, I think so.
Jalen Green, he's averaging 15.4 points, 3.2 rebounds, 2.5 assists on 40% shooting, 32% from the three. So the problem with Jalen Green was to start the season, he was terrible. And I mean, terrible to start the season. He couldn't find the bottom of the basket. The team couldn't win a game at all. And like I said, he was terrible. But the last 6 games, he's averaging 21.8 points, 4 rebounds, about 4 assists on 51% shooting. So I mean, yeah, shooting. I mean, the 3-point shot has not been very good for him this season. Like I said, he's only at 32%, but I think the last 6 to 10 games he's been 38%. So he's definitely improving. But I think Jalen Green has proven he's like how do I say this? Because I'm going to say something here and people aren't going to like it probably, but this is a hot take.
Just say it anyways. Let it out.
Jalen Green is going to be the Carmelo Anthony of this draft class. He's going to be the guy that is just an insane scorer. But what else does he really offer you? You know what I mean? Not saying he's bad at anything else, but he's gonna get you a lot of points. But that's gonna be his role, which is fine. That is not a shot at Jalen Green at all. That's just a comparison, an all-time type of thing because everybody knows the 2003 draft class.
Yeah, but in that situation, you also got to figure like with a guy like Carmelo, you got to put around him someone that can facilitate,
Mm-hmm.
can create their own shot, and then you're gonna need a big man that can grab rebounds and
Yeah.
play really good defense.
And the Kevin Porter Jr. point guard experiment just really hasn't been as good as they thought it would be. And obviously, John Wall, that's a whole nother situation. But okay, so number 9 is Chris Duarte. He's averaging 13.1 points per game, 4 rebounds, 2 assists on 43% from the field, and 36 from the 3-point line. Now I know he did have a toe injury or a foot injury, something like that. So he's been out quite a bit recently. But over the course of the past like 4 games that he suited up in, like I said, he's been missing out a lot of time. He's only been averaging 7.8 points on 30% shooting from 3. And also, you know, the Pacers just did trade for Tyrese Halliburton, so you would hope with Malcolm Brogdon being out most of the year, hope getting a facilitating guard in Tyrese Halliburton will open up more shots for Duarte, to be a better shooter. Because like I said, he was one of those guys where it's kind of like the opposite of Jalen Green. You know, he started off the season really, really well and kind of surprised everybody. And this could be because of injuries, but he's been kind of trailing off recently.
Yeah, but for the whole, I think just for all the awards, you can't just look at like one specific stretch. You got to look at the full body of motion and how they played from the beginning to the end. Like if you have a guy that's struggling in the beginning but then caught fire at the end, I don't think he holds as much weight for like the Rookie of the Year award as if someone has consistently been performing through the entire year.
Yes. Okay, so number 8 is the boy from Chicago, Ayo Dosunmu.
I honestly, I think could be a dark horse in this race. I think he could, depending on how the rest of the season goes, he could end up winning Rookie of the Year.
I think it's going to be tough for him, especially if Lonzo comes back from his injury, because he's going to see a decrease in playing time, and Caruso coming back as well. But I think even if he doesn't win it, the fact that a second-round pick is going to be, at least in the conversations, is really good for Ayo. He's averaging 8.4 points, about 3 rebounds, a little over 3 assists on 53% shooting and 40 from the 3. Like I said, Lonzo's and Caruso have been out for a good chunk of the season, so he's getting way more opportunity than he would have being drafted. But since Lonzo's injury, he's averaging 11.5 points, 4 rebounds, and 6.5 assists on 53% shooting and 40 from the 3-point. And he started for all 25 games.
All 25, huh? But then again, when you got someone playing like that, it's kind of like the coach he's got to make minutes, especially if you got a young boy coming in. That's basically to say, hold up now, I'm here, I've shown you. You can't just cut me out completely.
Now, again, and this is not me, saying this should happen, but do you think if Ayo can consistently play like this, it makes Lonzo expendable? Because he's kind of doing the same thing Lonzo does.
I mean, I can see that, especially if you're telling me he's shooting 40% from 3, which I feel like is better than Lonzo. Lonzo did fix his shot and he is hitting threes, but I think especially with him being younger than Lonzo, am I right on that?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah, I feel like he has a better opportunity to even get that 3-point percentage higher than what it is.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And I feel like he could easily, self-accolades, have a chance at being a 50, 40, 90 member, which is a very prestigious class to be in.
Mm-hmm. So now we're going to go to this number 7, which is, I think, going into the season is a huge surprise. We have Herb Jones from the New Orleans Pelicans.
If I'm being honest, I have no clue who that is.
Ben, don't know Herb Jones. He's averaging 9.5 points, 4 rebounds, a little over 2 assists on 49% from the field and 35 from 3. Like I said, he was a second-round pick as well. And especially with Zion being out, he's getting way, way more playing time. I think he said he started 53 of 62 games this season. Yeah. Okay. So, obviously, with Zion being in that whole situation, he's getting a way bigger workload than he would have. And it does say here, as of late, He's been inconsistent as of late, dropping single-digit points in 5 of his past 9 games, which obviously isn't great. But I think Herb Jones, I don't want to say he prides himself, but I think he brings a lot on the defensive side of the ball, where I don't think you should be too upset that he's having bad scoring nights every once in a while. This is a second-round pick. He's
and
gonna
also,
have nights like that.
Yeah, and also, I mean, he is a rookie. He's not like a 3-4 year veteran to where you know what you got to bring every time. Now, then again, this is the NBA, but he is a rookie. You know what I mean? He's like 21.
Yeah.
Like he's not that old, so it's still a learning experience, even if you are a really skilled rookie coming in, or you do have that opportunity. It's just this whole learning curve that you got to be able to understand and get into rhythm, and you're gonna have stretches to where you're not scoring a lot or you're not playing very good.
Definitely. So the number 6 here, we have Josh Giddey, who on the season's averaging 12.5 points, almost 8 rebounds, and 6.5 assists on 42 from the field and 26 from the 3, which obviously is not really good. The shooting's been kind of a struggle this year, but he's the third youngest player in NBA history to grab 100 rebounds and dish out 100 assists in his first 20 games, behind only LeBron and LaMelo Ball. So that's kind of a great list to be on.
Oh yeah, and I mean, isn't he the youngest to record a triple double? And he done it like what 2 or 3 times at that?
Yeah, sorry if you hear my dog in the background; he just kind of ran off. But yeah, yes, he is. I think when Giddey was drafted, people really looked at that pick and were not fans of it, just because people thought there were better players on the board. So the fact that he is, now arguably top 5 in the Rookie of the Year races, I think, obviously it's a testament to how hard he works. And I also want to shout out Josh Giddey's TikTok game because it's pretty fire.
I'll have to check that out. Take your word for it. I'll have to check that out later on.
Now, I do think, though, he's probably going to drop in this because I think he has a hip injury right now, so he is out for a little bit. But, it is what it is.
Yeah, I mean, you're going to have injuries unless you're like LeBron and you're just Megatron or whatever.
Yeah, and what was that? Well, I mean, even this season, the past couple of seasons, you're starting to see LeBron even come down with injuries.
Yeah, I mean, LeBron is what? Almost
37.
Yeah, I was gonna say he's almost 40. His body isn't gonna be like when it was when he was younger. I mean, He still got hops though. I do gotta give him that. He still got hops.
Oh yeah. Now, number 5 here is I think another surprise is Jonathan Kuminga.
The cum bucket.
Yes. Shout out Kenny. Yeah, that was a crazy draft night for Kenny there. But he's averaging almost 9 points a game and 3 rebounds on 52% from the floor and 35 from the 3-point line. To start the season, Kuminga just really wasn't playing. Him and Moses Moody were both, I think, in and out of the G League. They didn't really have spots for him to play.
Yeah.
Now, especially since Draymond's been out, Kuminga's minutes has really jumped up. And over the past 15 games, he's averaging about 15 points, 4.5 rebounds while shooting 57 from the field. And I mean, he's only 19. I mean, he is a very young forward.
And I mean, and having someone like Draymond can help you out with, dishing the ball because we don't know how Draymond is. I think he recorded a triple double without points.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like Draymond is just that. I think he's like 6'7". He's like an undersized 4.
He's smaller. Like 6'7".
But he has like the know-how. He has to be able to play the 4 and play bigger guys without having to give a lot up. And I feel like Jonathan Kuminga could use that and could excel with having someone like Draymond Green to help him, with the rebounding, the defense, and with assisting. Because I feel like Kuminga could potentially end up going and be an averaging like triple-double numbers.
For sure. So number 4 is Franz Wagner. He's averaging 15.5 points, 4.5 rebounds, and 3 assists on 47% shooting from the field and 37 from the 3. And I think he's been arguably, maybe not even arguably, the Magic's best player this season.
I could see that. I can definitely see that.
It says here that he's scored double figures in 43 of his past 48 games, which obviously is ideal.
I mean, yeah, that for someone like for France, I mean, I think he's what, like 6'7" ish.
Yeah, he's a taller shooter.
Yeah, I mean, and using that, you're gonna expect him to hit a couple threes a game. Like 4, 5 threes a game. And I mean, he's big enough to where if he gets in there with a couple with like guards, he can easily over rebound them. And I feel like as time goes on, he's going to get them assist numbers up, and I feel like he could potentially be averaging like 18 points, 6.5 rebounds, and about 5-6 assists.
Okay,
Hello?
so G
Yeah.
to charge his phone, so we're gonna try to hurry up finish this podcast. I think we're running on, probably about 40-45 minutes at this point in time anyway. So
yeah, that's my bad. Again, if anyone listening here, if you guys have a good podcast website to where we can record and put it out, we really appreciate it because of the inconveniences going on right now.
Yeah, and we have 3 more rookie of the years. We can kind of streamline through these because I think everybody knows who these top 3 are, and I think it's pretty obvious what they're doing. So I don't think they need to be talked about too much other than just how good they've been. Number 3 is Cade Cunningham. Obviously, the first pick in the draft to Detroit. He's averaging 16.5 points, about 6 rebounds, a little over 5 assists, 40% from the field, and 33 from the 3-point line. He's been good. I think it's tough for him to really be anything better in the situation he's in because he just doesn't have a good team around him.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it goes back to the Damian Lillard situation. You got a good player, but the team isn't up to that standard.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
If you look at the last 5 games, the Pistons have won 3 of them, and he's averaging 20.2 points, 7 rebounds, and about 5.5 assists during that span. So I think he's going to be one of those guys where he might be a little later to the party. When you see guys like Evan Mobley right away kind of help bolster their teams into the playoffs. Obviously, like, Mobley isn't the only reason, but he's a big reason. I think Cunningham's going to be one of those guys where if you give him 2-3 seasons, I think you will see him end up probably being the best player in the draft class, the highest potential player in the draft class. But that's my opinion on that.
I can totally understand that. And with the numbers he's putting up now, with the averaging, like you said, about 16.5, 6 rebounds, and 5 assists.
Yep. So
you
got.
He can easily, like I said, with Giddey, he could potentially be putting up triple-double numbers. And, I mean, he's averaging over a steal a game, so he's got to be doing something good in the defensive department.
Yep. Now, number 2, which personally I don't agree with him being a 2. I think he should be number 1, but is Evan Mobley. He's averaging about 15 points, 8 rebounds, and 2.5 assists, and 1.5 blocks, shooting 50 from the floor and 26 from 3. I don't really think I think he's been the best rookie. I think his impact on the Cavaliers, again, like I said, he's not the only reason, but his impact on that Cavaliers team to be, making a playoff push. I don't know. I just think his impact and his stats, he's just been good. I think he's been the best rookie. I see who we have there at number 1, and while he's been good, I don't think Scottie Barnes has been better than him, but that's just my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, in my personal list, I got Evan 1, Scottie 2, Cade 3, and my dark horse is Wagner. But yeah, I mean, Evan Mobley, the only knock on him is his free throw shooting. But then again, we've seen from a lot of bigs throughout the years, they're not that good at free throw shooting. And the fact that he's touching almost 70% shows signs that he can get better. That 3-point percentage got to get up, though.
And I know he had that stretch there for like a couple weeks ago, I should say, that he kind of was struggling a little bit, but that whole Cavs team was starting to struggle a little bit at that point in time. But it says here that the past 2 games, which again it's a small sample size, but the past 2 games he's averaging 21 points, 14.5 rebounds, 3.5 assists, 2.5 steals, and 2 blocks, which is elite levels.
Oh yeah, and I think a lot of the because when you look at the full body work, these full numbers. You know what I mean? Like his 14.8 points. I still feel like it takes a rhythm to get into once you first get in the league.
Oh yeah.
to actually get to that level to you're playing like that. And I think that hinders the stats a little bit. But then again, we do have to look at the full body of work when picking like an MVP, Rookie of the Year, Most Improved.
Mm-hmm. Now, again, like I said, it has Scotty at 1, which I don't hate, I don't dislike it, but I do think Mobley's been better. But that's not taking anything away from Scotty. I think he's been fantastic in his own regard, and he definitely deserves to be up here. I don't want people to take that the wrong way. I definitely think he deserves to be up here. He's averaging about 15 points a game, 7.5 rebounds, and about 3.5 assists on 49% from the floor and 31 from the three. You know, the Raptors, they're a weird team to watch. I'll go on record here saying, and this is not hate. I really don't enjoy watching Pascal Siakam play. Not that he's definitely good. He's an all-star talent. Like, I'm not taking that away from him, but watching him is like watching Julius Randle to me, and I just can't seem to enjoy it.
Yeah, I can understand that completely. It's just like he just plays the game like he's like a Tim Duncan. You know what I mean? Like I'm not comparing him to Tim Duncan. Just I'm saying the way he kind of moves about it because he's very fundamentally sound. It's just nothing that pops to get your attention.
It's just kind of boring to watch. Like I said,
Yeah.
it works, and like definitely, I'm not saying it doesn't work. I can't sit down and watch Siakam play and just enjoy myself. I don't know.
Yeah, it's not like when you're watching like a prime Russell Westbrook or when you're watching Ja Morant to where they're high flying, running around, doing all these stuff. You're just like, oh my gosh.
Yeah, and like I said, I feel that way about that entire kind of Raptors team. I just feel like even what was it, 2019 that they won the finals with Kawhi. That they were more fun to watch then. But I just feel like they've always been a team that's just been kind of like, I never, like, if they're on and I'm watching, I'll watch the game. But I don't go out of my way to watch Raptor games. Like I said, I just don't find it. I can't stay engaged in the game. They got great talent. Obviously, Scotty, Siakam, Van Vliet, and obviously in the past with Kawhi, Kyle Lowry, DeRozan. They've had great talent on the team. And it's nothing taken away from those guys. I don't know. The games haven't really stuck with me.
Yeah, I mean, I can completely understand that. It's kind of just like if they're on, I'll watch them. If they're not, and no big deal.
Yeah.
I mean, they did have that championship run to where I don't think anybody saw that coming, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
Especially with that Kawhi shot over, what was it, Embiid or Simmons? I forget who it was.
It was iconic Embiid. I have a flag poster of it sitting right above me right now. I'm looking at it on my wall.
You look at that play from the beginning. I think he's guarded by Butler. I think Butler was on the 76ers at that point.
Yes.
I think he was guarded by Butler, Simmons, and Embiid through that entire play, and he still managed to hit that shot from the corner.
It's fantastic. Now, last thing I want to talk about before we get off here is I want to give just a quick little rundown of the Defensive Player of the Year race. I'm just gonna put out my 5, or I'm gonna put out the 5 on. It's a website here called Sportskeeda, and the oh man, I'm gonna butcher this name, but the article is by Kunal Sethi, and this was modified the 10th, which is today, right? No, yesterday. Thursday, March 10th.
Yeah, because today's the 11th because March Madness is the start when they pick for March Madness is the 13th. So yeah, today's the 11th. So it's yesterday.
So updated as of yesterday has number 5, Draymond Green. Obviously he hasn't played in a little bit now with his injury. So I think that's part of the reason he's dropped.
I mean, Draymond's Draymond. You're gonna get great defense no matter what.
Yeah, he's just always been that kind of guy. 4, which it surprises me, maybe not because of their team this year, but 4 is actually Jaren Jackson Jr.
I can actually see that because of the way that they've been coming on. I mean, like we said about Ja, possible MVP, guaranteed, in my opinion, most improved player of the year. He's just elevating the team. And when you elevate a team, you got guys that are going to be playing better than what people thought they were. And I
Yeah,
feel like Jaren Jackson Jr., especially on the defensive end, has been exceeding that expectation.
he's leading the league in blocks and
There
blocks
you
per game.
go.
And the Grizzlies are 8th in the NBA in defensive rating. So that's he apparently he was 3rd last week, and I got dropped to 4th. And I'll take blame on that. I didn't realize he was playing that. Like, I just didn't realize he was playing that good defensively. Apparently Desmond Bain said it's a no-brainer that Jaren Jackson Jr. is the defensive player of the year. So, Desmond Bain knows what's going on.
Apparently.
Number 3 is Mikal Bridges.
Bridges is up there.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
He was 4th last week, so he jumped up a spot.
I got in that list. I got Jaren Jackson over Bridges. I'm sorry.
Now, part of the reasoning here that he gives is many believe Mikal Bridges should be leading the defensive player of the year race. He's exceptionally, and maybe I read that wrong, exceptionally handling assignments against superstars like Steph Curry, James Harden, LeBron, and often winning. So basically what they're saying is they're putting Mikal on the other team's best score, and he is holding himself up. You know what I mean? He's holding his own ace. So I guess his stats may not, like, he's averaging what? Over the past week, he's averaging over two steals per game, and he's 17th in the league in total steals. So I guess his stats really aren't jumping off this sheet, but it's his impact on guarding the other team's best scorer.
I think what we got here is another case of the Marcus Smart. Really good defensively, can take the best player, but doesn't get the stats or the recognition because he is a guard or like a smallish forward.
Yeah. And number 2 is, the guy that hits here every year is Rudy Gobert. He was number 1 last week, so he did drop 1.
I don't know. I'm just getting tired of seeing Rudy Gobert up there. I mean, he is a really good defender, but I feel like it just comes down to the point too when do we take him off the list? Because I mean, he's been here for the past 6-7 years, or however long.
Let's see here. It says right here. He's already been a 3-time defensive player of the year. He's out for his 4th this season. So I think obviously voter fatigue is going to come into effect, but I think it sucks that it does, because I feel like if you're the best player at something, you should get recognized for that, even if it's the 5th year in a row. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I get you want to spread out the MVPs, you want to spread out the awards, but listen, if I'm averaging 4 blocks a game and 3 assists, 3 steals for 5 years in a row, I better win Defensive Player of the Year 5 years in a row.
Is he really averaging?
No. I'm just saying.
I was about to say. Okay, I was about to say. No way, Rudy Pootie's fucking pulling out 4 blocks and 3 steals a game over 5 seasons. That's kind of just like MVP type shit. Right there, but I'm just saying.
Like, I feel like if you're clear cut one of the best defenders in the league, even though there's voter fatigue, I feel like you still should be getting that award because you're still one of the best defenders in the league. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, I can understand that. Another one. Let me guess who the number 1 is for Defensive Player of the Year.
This one shouldn't be too hard.
Giannis.
Yes.
Honestly, in my opinion, I feel like Embiid should be on that list, but that's just me.
I mean, hey, I don't know. It's tough. He's averaging over the past 5 games. He's averaging 2 blocks, over 2 blocks, and 2 steals per game. And he's obviously been insane offensively. Not that has too much to do with, the
depoy.
Yeah, but Giannis is just one of those guys. He's just always there. He's literally one of the best help defenders in the NBA, if not the best. Like, you cannot play against Milwaukee and get into the paint without Giannis being there.
Oh yeah, that's just a given. Because I mean, like, if you're playing a team that has a traditional big man that can't shoot, Giannis is gonna be there. That's why you gotta be able to run like a taller 5 that can space the floor a little bit.
And you saw that type of thing happen. Well, I guess not a taller, but Rudy Gobert was that last year in the playoffs when the Clippers went small ball, and they made Rudy Gobert play the perimeter, and he just couldn't do it. You know what I mean? I think that's where Giannis separates himself from Rudy Gobert, because Giannis is athletic enough. Not saying Gobert isn't athletic, but Giannis is athletic enough where he can guard you from half court back. to the paint.
Oh yeah, he's just like Kevin Durant. He's another freak athlete.
Yep. I think Giannis is a better athlete than Kevin Durant, at least at this point in their careers.
Oh
But yeah, Giannis, I think, deserves to be number one. I do agree that Joel should be getting recognition. I don't know. It's tough. I think it would be terrible for Giannis not to win anything this year.
Oh, I can understand that, but then again, we've had years to where for the MVP, you got LeBron popping off, or you got KD, or one of these guys that are just absolutely destroying the league, just trashing them, and they're not even like they don't get a lot of votes for MVP. Or
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Or like with
LeBron doesn't get votes anymore, and I really can't understand why.
I mean, he's still tearing it up, and especially when he's 37.
Mm-hmm.
That's
exactly.
the most impressive part.
I don't really get, I don't know. I feel like it is weird to me. I'm not saying he should win them, but he's not even in the conversations for him.
Like, he should get a couple of votes. You know what I mean?
Yeah, or at least be talking about him in the conversation. But
it comes down to it is what it is. You know what I mean? Like
much.
not much. There's not much that we can do as sports fans this way. That or like with Depoy, I'm just gonna say it out. Like Mikal, in my opinion, he's kind of like a Marcus Smart. You can guard the best defenders. You can do everything you need to do, but when you're a guard, you're not gonna be able to get the stats that these big men are getting. You know what I mean? Like you don't have the long wings, the longest wingspan. You might have speed, but you'll be lucky to get a steal and a half or 2 steals a game when these big men are getting 2 steals and 2 blocks a game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And they're just overshadowing you for the entire time.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Well, I'm going to say I think this was a pretty good first episode. We had a couple technical issues in there, but, we'll figure that out. We'll work on that.
We'll get those fixed up for the next.
Yeah. So, whether you're hearing this on Spotify, Anchor, I'm gonna see if I can upload this to YouTube, and I'm gonna put the link in my TikTok too. Wherever you're coming from, I really appreciate you guys listening to our first episode. We're going to try to get a schedule down. It might not happen for a little bit just until we both figure out, work and personal lives, all that kind of fun stuff going on. But we are going to try to get to the point where we're giving you consistent uploads, like a schedule, so you guys know when to expect us to upload. So it's not just like random.
Yeah, and I mean, if you're a sports fan and you and your friends are sports fans and you just want something to listen to, just share it. You know what I mean? Post it on your social media. Say, hey, check out these guys. Just share it, spread the love around. That's all. That's all I'm asking. Just spread it around. Not everyone can be at the top and then just branch off. People are starting from the bottom. And I'm not dissing on anybody that's at the top or anything like that, because everyone had to work and grind to where they get to. So,
and I do want to say, I think we can both agree we want to be very active with our following, with our community. I'm the type of person that feels like, as creators, you should be in tune to what your following is in tune with. I don't like those creators that they post and then you don't see them again until they post again. They don't really come. You know what I mean? Like I feel like creators should be very in tune to the people that follow them.
Because they need to
those are people supporting you.
Yeah, they need to interact with their fan base, because those are the people that are going to get you to that point. You can put in all the work, but if you don't have the people backing you up or you don't have the fans, I hate to say, but you're not going to get much anywhere.
Yep. So basically where I'm going with that is that not every episode now, but in the future, we will make the opportunities available, as long as it's okay over there with G, but we'll make the opportunities available where we have you guys as fans come star and have a little segment on the show with us to talk about, whatever you want to talk about or whatever the episode's about that time. Because, you guys are here for J and G, but, you guys want to hear different opinions. We don't want to be the same two people talking all the time. So get people in here.
Yeah, I mean, and me and Jay, we know a good amount about sports. We can really talk about a lot. We can talk about basketball, football. We can maybe even dabble into baseball a little bit if that's what you're into.
Baseball's back, baby, and I don't care.
baseball, baseball is back.
But yeah, no. So, anything else from you?
I mean, not really. I mean, we covered all the bases and everything. I mean, I'm just ready for March Madness to kick off.
Yep. And I know this episode has its kind of bit of clunkiness. Like I said, we're starting out. This is our first episode, so don't expect how things went this episode to go the same way every time. We will definitely get better at this. We will definitely be more streamlined, more fluid. It comes with time.
Yeah, I mean, we're just working out the kinks right now. First episode, we're just working out the kinks, but I think that about wraps everything up.
Yep. So this is Jay, and that's G over there. Yeah, we will see you later.
We'll catch y'all in the next one.
Peace.
Peace.